Hello, hello. How's it going? Please let me know. I'll say it again later if we get more people. Let me know if the lighting is trash. I didn't put my ring light out. It's somewhere else and I just forgot it. So my window's open and my light is on, and I just let me know if that's not enough. But yeah, we're here. Happy Mother's Day to those who celebrate and to those who are mothers or mother figures or, just care about something. As long as you care about something, I think that counts. So yeah, we're going to paint some birch trees today. This is what we've got going on. So you don't need to do purple. If you want to do another background color, that's fine. But you really just need a background color and then black and white. Really simple. The one thing I didn't mention, but I feel like if you've been doing a decent amount of these classes, you probably have some brush options by now. So for the birch trees themselves, to get that texture, the easiest way to do it is with like a square brush. So if you have like a flat, this one has a little baby that needs to be cut. But if you have like a flat edge, it doesn't really matter the size. I guess it'll just be proportionate to how big your birch trees are. But a little flat brush like this. I think for this one, I used this size. This was good. But I think on my big one, I'm going to use my big square brush. So if you have that would be great. If not, like, you can still get that look. It might just take you longer because you won't have this wide sweeping brush stroke to use. That's all. Let's get started. I'm going to, let's see, am I still going to do purple? Yeah, why not? Where's my purple go? Here it is. As y'all know, if you've sat in any of my classes before, I am trying to use up all my paints before I buy new paints. I did just put an order in because I was out. I'm almost out of this white, which is impressive because I got this probably a year ago. I just put some water in here to try and get some. So if you see me shaking it, I'm trying to combine the water a little bit with whatever is left stuck to the edges of this guy. I did just place an order for some white. I need some more black. It's almost empty. I've been out of green for probably 4 months. I've just been mixing green, which is fine, but I would like a green paint. So I got green. I've been out of that peanut butter raw sienna color for a while, so I got that. So I did just place an order, but this is the first time I've ordered paint really in any significant quantity in a year. So my tactics are working. So this is my purple. And I'm just gonna grab some of this. Again, if you have a different vision for what your background color is going to look like, go for it. Honestly, with the birch trees being black and white, almost anything works. I do think a medium, well, actually, no, it could be a light color. I was gonna say a medium to dark background would be best, but it could be a light color. So yeah, totally up to you. Lots of creative control there. Sorry, I'm just really not confident that I'm going to get any white out of this. Let's see. Hopefully it's not just water that comes out. If you didn't know, acrylic paint is water-based, so you can obviously thin it with water. Just a fun fact. There. Okay, I got a decent amount now, I think. Probably not enough for the whole painting, but it's there. And I'm going to get myself some black. Okay, cool. If you are just joining, I did just let people know early on that I forgot to set my ring light up. So if I'm looking particularly drab or not well lit, that's why. If it's a big problem, let me know and I will go get it. But I think, at least on my end, let me turn my brightness up here. There we go. I think it looks okay. Yeah. Okay. So there is a very subtle gradient in my background. So generally speaking, if you're doing like a plain background, it could be just a wash of color, or I kind of like to give a little vignette where the edges are darker because it just pulls your eye in better. So that's what I did here. The edges are just a little bit darker than the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some like medium purple. Oh God, guys, this white is in real rough shape. I'm just going to mix some medium purple here. And I'm just going to go in. I like texture for this, so like brush strokes are cool. If you'd rather it be just a flat wash of color, that's fine too. I am super not confident I'm gonna have enough white paint for this painting. It's fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out. I'm just gonna like super duper water this down. You do not need to water your paints down this much. So I'm just starting toward the middle here. I'm kind of leaving my edges bare for now. They will get paint. I will say though, if you're ever doing a really busy painting, this is just a tip-trick observation. If you're ever doing a really busy painting and you want the background to go on real quick and dry pretty quick, you definitely can water your paints down significantly. The only reason you wouldn't want to do that all the time is just because it does get streaky. But if you're just kind of laying down a foundation in your background and then you're going to be adding lots of layers of stuff on top, no one will be able to tell. And maybe it'll add like a really unique quality to your painting too. All right, let's see here. Okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to get paint on there. So we will be doing this class, obviously, and then one more next weekend, and then I'm going to be taking a break for a while. I'm having surgery, and then I've got some other stuff coming up in June. So I think that I'm going to end up taking a break for the rest of May and June. And then we'll like kind of reassess and see what the world looks like in July. Sorry if that's a bummer. And who knows, maybe I'll be super bored and feeling good and want to do this, but the plan right now is to take a break. So yeah. Y'all are so quiet. I know that sounds like actually insane because I'm talking to myself, but I meant in the chat. You know what I mean. I had like a momentary like anxious moment just now that I'm like on the wrong account or something. But I'm not. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is start to add more dark purple in to my edges. I'm not washing my brush though, so it's just going to kind of blend. You've already got some of your lighter shade on there. I'm going to also probably run out of purple. This was poor planning on my part. It's fine. Okay. We've done this kind of background before where we're just getting some mushy swath of color in the background and kind of letting it blend darker on the edges and get lighter as it goes toward the middle. We've done this before. So, does anybody have any plans for the day or the week to come? Anything exciting coming up? I feel like depending on where you are in the world, things are like maybe looking a little better, or your personal circumstances maybe a little better because you're vaccinated. So just tell me all the things. Or not, that's fine too. I'll just ramble. I'll just continue to ramble. That's why y'all are here, right? You don't actually want to learn how to paint or to chat. You just want to hear me talk about nonsense, which is mostly TV related. I'm trying to think. Oh, I am watching. This is not new. It's just new to me. Well, it's not even new to me. It's just something that I decided to watch, like in order. I've been watching The Good Wife. My mom watched it like when it was on the air, like live as it was happening, and I was never into it, even though I love Matt Sucre. I think that's how you say his last name. I call him Matt Crunchy, which is horrible, but I think his last name is pronounced Sucre. So, and of course Juliana Margulies. But then I caught my mom watching reruns, and I caught like there's Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it in the later seasons. And so I caught his episodes completely out of order and with no context. And I was like, oh, this is actually like really good. So the channel that my mom was watching the reruns on is now like they started back over at season 1 and they're playing them in order, one per night. So my mom and I, that's been our like nightly ritual, is watching Good Wife, and it's really good. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Well, I'm in the beginning of season 3. There's 7 seasons, so I guess I can't really recommend anything yet because I don't know what's going to happen. I do know some spoilers though, just because I've seen like episodes from later seasons here and there. And I'm still watching Big Bang Theory completely out of order. So I know who marries who, but I never know when. Because like one episode, the channel that I watch it on plays them out of order. So in one episode, you know, some couple will be together, and then the next episode that was 3 seasons prior, and they are not together. It's very confusing. But interesting to watch a show out of order like that. Never done that before. I mean, I kind of do that with like SVU, because I don't watch that religiously. I just watch the reruns when it's on, and there's nothing else to watch. Law and Order and SVU. And I gotta say, like, this might be super duper naive, and that's totally fine. I'm gonna own that. SVU was like really problematic in its earlier season, like not even super early. I was watching an episode yesterday that was from 2009, and it was just like horribly transphobic. And I don't know how they got away with it. But it was just the times. But it was like 2009. Really? Were we that bad then? Apparently we were. Anyway. Other than that, I'm not watching anything. I have plans for my post-surgery recovery, and those are Good Omens. I'm gonna watch Good Omens. Haven't done that yet. I tried when it first came out, watched the first episode, and I didn't like it. Couldn't get into it. Let me say that. It's not that I didn't like it. I just couldn't get into it. But I want to try again. And then same thing with The Boys. I want to watch it. I tried to watch it. I watched the first episode. Actually, I couldn't even finish the first episode. And it had nothing to do with how gory it was. I was just like, the level of ego in that show makes me like viscerally uncomfortable. And I know it's intentional. Like, I know that that's how the characters are. I just like the secondhand embarrassment and the cringe, like, really is not my thing. But like, I want to like it because everybody talks about how good it is, and I'm sure it's fantastic. So yeah, those are my two post-surgery binge plans. I had another one too. Oh, I have to get caught up on some stuff that I haven't watched. Like, I still haven't watched the second season of Umbrella Academy. There's one on Earth, but I can't watch that until it's on Netflix because I don't get sci-fi. I watched like whatever seasons are on Netflix. So yeah, what's going on? Nobody's talking to me. Is my live chat broken? I mean, I can talk to myself for an hour. That's fine. Okay, so I've got the background going. I didn't really talk too much about the technique because I feel like we've gone over stuff like this before, but you're pretty much just going darker on the edges and blending it in when you get to the lighter areas. And the way you would accomplish that is to just go back into your little lighter puddle and kind of pick some more of that up, smush, smush, smush. As you can see, there's a ton of texture and it's fine. If you're really wanting, like, let's say you want to paint these birch trees and you want to put like a little baby bird or something, or a squirrel or whatever, like kind of on one of these branches in the middle here, so you really want your eye to be drawn there, you can grab some more white and make an even lighter shade and focus a little bit of an even lighter shade in the center and just kind of blend that out. It's not necessary, and it can get like a little tunnel visiony if it goes too far. So just something to think about if you wanted, if there was, or just in the future with other paintings, if you have something that you want to draw your eye into the middle, that would be a good way to do it. Okay. Cool. So that's gonna dry a little bit. I did paint pretty thin, so it's gonna be dry shortly. And then what you're going to do, or what we're going to do together, is you can wash your brush. And if you used like a big square brush for your background, you'll use the same one to do your trees. Any square brush that's approximately the width of a tree. That's not what I meant. Approximately the width of the tree you want to paint, like the trunk. So I'm going to water down some black paint. I want to get it pretty loose, like not drippy, but like almost drippy. So I just grabbed some water. I'm mixing some black paint in. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your square brush and you're literally just going to drag it top to bottom and put a tree in. And it doesn't have to be straight. In fact, having it have some wiggle and some bumps and stuff is kind of ideal, right? Because trees aren't perfect straight lines. So I'm going to put a tree here, like that. And Put another one here. And it's okay if you run out of paint, you have to go back and get more. Totally fine, because we're going to be covering up a large portion of this. What I do want you to try and think about is like not having like gel cell perfectly spaced trees here, because they wouldn't necessarily grow, perfectly spaced out. So I'm going to skip a bigger section here, and I'm going to put one right there. You can have them lean a little bit if you want them to not be perfectly straight. And I'll put another one really close here. I did 5 in this one. There's 5 here. I can end it and leave that gap there so that it's really not symmetrical. I kind of like that. And we're going to put offshoot branches, so you don't have to worry there. I really think that a painting like this is done best if done, I don't want to say quickly, but like kind of haphazardly. You don't want to think too much about it, right? So we've done trees before. You know that you're looking for armpits, not elbows. So we don't want things at like 90-degree angles. So I'm just taking the very skinny edge of my square brush, and I'm just getting some paint on there, and I'm just gonna like give myself some little branches. So just going to pull them in, and again, they can wiggle. They can have other branches coming out of them as well. The lighter you press, the thinner they will be. And I don't want to think too hard about this. There's like an interesting cluster of branches happening there. It'll be all different lengths, all different angles. They can go off the page, off your canvas. You can have some like little skinny ones that are just going like as if they're full trees, right? So they can just be like little background trees that are further off in the distance, so they're not as thick as these. As much or as little of that as you like. Okay, yeah, I like that. Okay, here's the trick though. For all of the like birch texture, which is just bark, right? It's just a specific look to the bark that they have. We're gonna grab some white paint. I just washed my brush. Again, you're gonna want this to be on a square brush. I'm gonna grab some white, and I'm gonna take a lot of it off. I don't want it to be too heavily saturated. And it really doesn't matter where you start with this, but you're just gonna go to the edge of a tree and pull toward the other side. And as you're brush runs out of paint, you can just let it so that you get all sorts of different like amounts of white and textures and brush strokes. I'm ignoring the offshoot branches for now. I'll show you kind of how to deal with that. And your like where your brush first lands on your tree is kind of how you're going to create that lumpy bumpy situation. And you can do it from both sides. I don't think it's necessary to completely do the whole tree from both sides, but it does kind of help it look like it's encased in this texture. So I will definitely add this to both sides. And if you're doing this texture from both sides, they can absolutely meet in the middle, but you'll still see some of that black poking through. Now you can also, if it's looking a little rough to you, you can take some of the white on your brush, again, make it super skinny by going like pew, pew, and then pew, pew, to get it nice and skinny. And you can, on some parts, not everything, because we don't want to outline everything in white, but on some parts you can kind of go in and just like pull your brush along the edge to help clean that area up. And that's also what I'm going to do for these like branches, right? So I'm just going to kind of like pull some white along them so that there's just white and black coexisting in a really like rough manner. Like I'm not saying it has to be on the top, on the bottom, like it's really just white and black coexisting. You can see it kind of on here, like see how I'm not like super concerned about this part being on the bottom, this part being on the top, because it's just supposed to be this like peely bark stuff. And wherever you feel like it needs some smoothing out, you can go in and do that on the edge. Use the skinny portion of your brush along the edge here. You can also create branches with just the white. So as you're going, if you're like, oh, I really kind of dropped the ball here, I need some more detail, you can just add some white branches in there. And that's it, guys. It's really like this painting is a more, I don't want to say simple because it's definitely nuanced, but it's definitely a more straightforward kind of process. I do really like just letting my brush run out of paint and then maybe flipping it over and getting some more paint in random areas. Don't be afraid to skip some spots. It's kind of the best way to get this texture is to just let some of the other color poke out. And play around, see what you like, right? Because maybe you're like, oh, I don't like doing it from both sides. So maybe you will do a tree where you just kind of do it on one side, but your brush strokes are longer. Maybe that's what makes you happy. So I'll do that one here where my brush strokes are kind of going more across the whole tree. And then maybe on the other side, I will do that super skinny, rough outline. Let's see what that looks like. It's interesting. Different. I like the texture coming from both sides. But it can be at all varying degrees, right? And if you look at it and you're like, oh, this all is like one tone and nothing is popping out and I really want it to, go back in, put another layer. It doesn't all have to be this super like textured brush stroke thing. Add some more white. I'm actually getting some of this like purple coming into my white, which I really like. It was not intentional, but I like it. And these like baby trees that we put in the background, they should get some white too. You can do ones that are entirely just white. So if you want to like do some really light, like once you don't have a lot of paint on your brush, if you just want to do some like light wispy, like maybe there's trees back here, maybe it's just something reflecting in the background, like really subtle, just to fill the space, you can totally do that. I like that look a lot. I'm always a fan, like on anything. Honestly, like truly, truly on any type of painting, I like letting my brush run out of paint and seeing what happens with that texture. It's not always the right call for each painting, and so you have to go back over it with, more paint. But that's the kind of thing that's like something that's really easy to just experiment with as you go and find out what you like. And like when your brain responds to texture and when it doesn't. I think that's like a fun, kind of important um, tool to have in your tool belt when you're painting is not just learning how to do different textures, it's learning when to use them or when you like them, honestly. There's not like rules of when to add certain things. But see how adding a bunch of white just to this cluster of branches kind of like tones it down and makes it drop back. It's not as like intense anymore. Okay. That's my last little big tree. Yes, I just said little big tree. It's fine. And I've got some branches here. I kind of also let the branches, these little offshoot branches, kind of dictate when I do that little outline because if I feel like it needs it when I pull it in where it meets the big tree, then that's kind of where I'm going to put that little capping edge detail. This is just like a really good way to do a kind of free form painting. You can kind of just take this and run with it. You could do like a whole giant canvas of these like really skinny. That would look so cool. I've seen a lot of people do these as murals. So like if you go and buy like a 3 or 4 inch brush, like painting walls, just throw these up on your walls, assuming you have permission to paint. It looks so cool as a mural. And it's so easy. It's like so quick and easy to do too. So I'm a big fan of painting birch trees. I haven't done a lot of them, but they are really fun. And then you can just kind of take a step back and squint a little and see like, okay, I feel like I'm missing something, blah, blah, blah. And then you can fill it in. But that's really it. And I don't know if you guys are trying to talk to me, but there's nothing in the live chat. So I apologize if you've been talking to me this whole time and I've been ignoring you, but there's nothing there. And if you haven't been talking to me this whole time, that's totally fine. But I think, I'm done. So if there's no questions or if I can't see your questions, then I think we're going to kind of end this a little early. I hope that you had fun painting your birch trees. I hope I didn't go too fast, but really, this is one of those kinds of paintings where you kind of need to go fast. And if you are experiencing where you went really fast and your white mixed in with your black for your trees, totally intentional. I wanted that to happen. As you can see, there's white, black, and gray happening here because it mixed in or it's poking through. The black is poking through the white. So if you are experiencing that, that's what we want. If it's too much and it's just all becoming one color, then you can wait for it to dry or keep doing what you're doing, let it become this gray, and then go back in with white. This is also something that is really easy to take a couple backward steps on. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was my shoulder. So what I mean is if you get a tree and you paint a tree and then you're like, oh, that's too much. Like I'm looking at it in camera and right here is very solid. And I don't love that. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's like standing out to me because it's one of the only areas that feels that way. So you can wash your brush, go grab some black and then scrape most of it off and go in with some black or come in from the other direction and just add some of that black and some of that texture back in wherever you feel like maybe you lost it or it went a little too far. Super easy to go back and forth between the black and the white on a painting like this, and get some of that texture and that shade and shadow back in. In fact, I didn't do it on here where I layered the black back over it, but I'm doing it now and I'm like, oh, that's a whole look. I like that. So play around with that. If you are done and bored and you want to see what happens if you add some more black in there, I like that. That's a good look. Give it a shot. And I will end this here. And please post these to Twitter. Tag me, tag Quarantine Creatively, because I want to see them. And I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely rest of your weekend. And I'll see you next weekend. Bye.